All right, so these are my week 5 NBA power rankings. Let's get started. Start off here again with our injuries. I'll go over kind of the new stuff here. Marcus Smart is back for the Grizzlies. Malcolm Brogdon's back for the Wizards. Matisse Thybulle's questionable this week for the Blazers. Nick Claxton's going to be out for a week for the Nets. And D'Anthony Melton's going to be out a couple weeks for the Warriors. Next up will be our top performances. You guys can kind of look at this here yourself. And now I'm going to go on. I did want to mention De'Aaron Fox had 60 points and then 49 points the next game. But yeah, other than that, you can look at this yourself. And then we go to number 3, the Washington Wizards. They had an 0-4 week. They were 30 last week. So again, they're going to stay down there. They do get Malcolm Brogdon back, so maybe that helps them a little bit. But I think this team is too bad that just getting Malcolm Brogdon back is not going to really lead to a bunch more wins. But maybe they could at least be more competitive in their losses. Number 29 will be the Toronto Raptors. They went 1-3, sitting at 3-12. Their team. They've had some great pieces. RJ Barrett's looked really good. Grady Dick has looked very good. Ochai Agbaji. Other young guys are looking solid for this team. But overall, as a team, they're just not getting a whole lot of wins right now. Number 28, Utah Jazz, who 3-10, had a 1-3 week. They had a close loss to the Suns, a close loss against the Kings, and a close loss against the Clippers. So 3 close losses against some good teams, and they did beat the Mavericks, so that was a good win. Number 27, New Orleans Pelicans had a 1-2 week, sitting at 4-10. Not a very good team either. They beat the Nuggets, which is a good win. They had a close game against the Lakers, and then they got beat by like 20 against the Thunder. But some good games against some good teams here. 26, Charlotte Hornets. They do drop a couple of spots after a 1-2 week, currently sitting at 5-8. The Metal Balls looked really good. Outside of that, not too much bright spots here for this team. They got blown out by the Magic and the Cavs, and then they did beat the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, the Bucks are not looking very good so far either. 25 is the Philadelphia 76ers. So again, they are 2-11 right now. So the record still a little bit worse than where their ranking is, but they dropped quite a bit of spots here after having an 0-4 week. Tyrese Maxey's still injured, so hopefully he can return soon to help this team, because Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey have not played in a game together. But getting Joel Embiid back this week did not help him so far. 24. Brooklyn Nets had an 0-3 week as well, so they do drop quite a spots as well. They got blown out by the Celtics, and then lost to the Knicks twice. The Atlanta Hawks. They do well come spot after 3-1 week, sitting at 7-8. Solid record here for the Hawks. They beat the Celtics, which is a good team. They beat the Kings, which is a good team, and they beat the Wizards, which is pretty bad. But again, it's a good thing to win that game. And they lost to the Blazers right now this week. Number 22, with Chicago Bulls at 6-9. They had a 2-2 week. So they're going to kind of stay exactly where they were. They beat the Knicks, and they beat the Pistons, and they lost to good teams in the Cavs and the Rockets. Number 21 is going to be the Miami Heat, dropping 3 spots after a 2-2 week, sitting at 6-7 right now. Definitely not ideal here for Miami. They lost to the Pistons. They lost to the Pacers. They played the Pacers twice, and they split those 1-1. But yeah, they lost to the Pistons, and then their other win was against the Sixers, who again are not good right now. Number 20 is the Detroit Pistons. They beat the Heat, so I do think they should be right above them there. Did a 3-2 week. 5 games is a lot in 1 week, but they're pretty successful in their heavy week here, beating the Heat, beating the Raptors, and beating the Wizards, and they did lose to the Bulls and the Bucks. Number 19 is going to be the Portland Trailblazers. They move up 7 spots after a 3-0 week. Very good week. They beat the Timberwolves twice, which is a really good team, and they beat the Hawks. Number 18, Milwaukee Bucks. They are 5-9, still not a very good record, but they had a good week here at 3-1. So I do move them up here a couple of spots. They beat the Raptors, the Pistons, and the Rockets, and then they had a 1-point loss to the Hornets as their only loss of the week. Number 17, Indiana Pacers drop a couple of spots here. Had a 1-3 week, not a great week here for Indiana. They lost to the Magic, they lost to the Heat, and they lost to the Raptors. And like I said earlier, they played the Heat twice and did win the second game, but still not a great week for Indiana. Number 16, San Antonio Spurs had a 1-2 week, but they're going to stay at the exact same spot they were at. They beat the Wizards and they lost to good teams in the Lakers and Mavericks. Number 15 is the Los Angeles Clippers, going to drop one spot here. Had a 2-2 week, 8-7 overall, pretty mid overall here for the Clippers, who are still without Kawhi Leonard and potentially without Kawhi Leonard for the rest of the season. Honestly, we don't really know. We haven't really gotten any updates on that injury, but they lost to the Rockets twice and they beat the Jazz and the Warriors. Number 14, Dallas Mavericks. So they're 2-2 this week. Drop a couple of spots here. They lost to a good team in the Warriors, but they also lost to the Jazz. Should be winning those games. They beat the Spurs and the Thunder, who's a very good team as well. They did beat. Number 13, Houston Rockets. They're 10-5 right now. They're a 3-1 week. If they would have won their fourth game, they had like a 5 or 6 game winning streak. If they would have won their last game of the week last night, I believe it was, they very well could be a top 10 team right now. But they're going to stay right about where they were. They beat the Clippers twice. They beat the Bulls, but they did lose to the Bucks. Number 12, Sacramento Kings, 8-7, had a 2-2 week. They do drop a couple of spots here. They beat the Suns, they beat the Jazz, and they lost to the Hawks and the Timberwolves in overtime. Number 11, Memphis Grizzlies, dropping 3 spots after a 1-2 week. Not ideal here for Memphis. They lost to the Lakers and the Warriors, who are good teams, and they beat the Nuggets, who is also a pretty good team, but I do drop them just a couple of spots. Number 10 is going to be the Phoenix Suns. They dropped 4 spots, did a 1-4 week, still 9-6, so a very good record to start the year, but not a great week, obviously. Beat the Jazz, but then lost to the Kings, lost to the Thunder, lost to the Timberwolves, and lost to the Magic. Those are all 4 pretty solid teams that they did lose to, but still 1-4 is not a great look. Number 9 is the Orlando Magic. They jump up 8 spots after having a 4-0 week to get them to 9-6 as well. Very good week here overall for the Magic. They beat the Hornets, Pacers, Sixers, and the Suns. Number 8 is going to be Minnesota Timberwolves. Dropped 1 spot after a 2-2 week. They lost to the Blazers twice. Definitely not ideal, but they beat good teams in the Kings and the Suns to kind of make up for that. Number 7 is New York Knicks. Had a 4-1 week, so they do jump up a few spots here. Looking pretty solid. They beat the Sixers, beat the Nets, beat the Wizards, and actually beat the Nets again. And their only loss was a 1-point loss to the Chicago Bulls. Number 6 is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Move up 3 spots after a 3-0 week. Very good for the Lakers. They played the Grizzlies, Spurs, and Pelicans and won all of those games by exactly 5 points. Number 5, we got the Denver Nuggets dropping 3 spots here. Had an 0-2 week, sitting at 7-5. Not ideal. They lost to the Pelicans and to the Grizzlies here this week. Number 4 is going to be the Boston Celtics. Had a 2-1 week, sitting at 11-3. These top 2 through 4 are kind of all in the same realm of teams right now. But the Celtics, they destroyed the Nets, beat the Raptors in overtime, and then had a 1-point loss versus the Atlanta Hawks. Number 3 is going to be the OKC Thunder, also at 11-3, moving up just 1 spot. They dominated the Pelicans and the Suns, and they did lose to the Mavericks by 2. And then number 2 is going to be the Golden State Warriors, who are 10-3, also had a 2-1 week. And they do stay at number 2 right now. They were doing pretty good for them. They beat the Mavericks, they beat the Grizzlies, and they lost to the Clippers. And then number 1, of course, is going to be the Cavaliers. They went 3-0 this week, still currently undefeated. They play the Celtics tonight to get to the number 2 all time on the most wins to start a season. Right now they're tied at 15 straight wins to start the year. They get 1 more, they'll be sole possession of number 2. I believe the 2016 Warriors had like 24 wins in a row. I don't expect Cleveland to get to that. But if they can get a win tonight against the defending champion Boston Celtics, there's no telling how far this streak can last. And then I do want to show you guys here the current NBA Cup standings here. I'm not really going to talk about everything, but I'm going to point some stuff out. Sixers are 0-2, Raptors are 0-2. So the guys that are 0-2, it's going to be a very big battle for them to even be able to make it to the Cup final or the Cup I guess the Cup playoffs or whatever you want to call it. So they're probably eliminated already. I do want to note that the Pistons are 2-0 in here, so that's interesting. If they win one more game, they're likely going to be in the East final there. Other than that, yeah, that's about all I got to say about this. NBA Cup so far has had some really good games in it. And then that is going to be it here for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back next week for an updated power rankings list, and make sure to watch my NFL videos as well.